We are back, dear viewers, after this interesting report we just saw, and now we will go on with our second interview segment. Preparing students for the new academic year after a long summer break is essential for ensuring a smooth transition back to school. Preparing students for the new academic year involves establishing routines, organizing supplies, setting goals, and addressing emotional needs. By focusing on these areas, students can transition smoothly back to school life, and embrace the opportunities that lie ahead. Now, dear viewers, let's welcome Amel Kandakchi, certified international trainer and mental health counselor. Hello and good morning, Amel.
Good morning, lovely Kuwait. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the nice introduction.
You are most welcome. Indeed, you earned this introduction because, as you know now, we are in the end of August. September is next week, so back to school. Tell us about what are if you could describe the components of a good plan for back to school for children.
As you mentioned, it's the high season now for the back to school
Yes.
preparation for parents and kids as well. And on the other side for our schools and teachers. So it's a little bit challenging regarding our time management and the routines, because now after the long period of the summer holidays,
yes, having fun and everything,
yeah,
and then coming back to school.
Yeah, so it's a little bit challenging, especially for little kids.
Especially, little kids. I remember when I was in elementary school. Every year I see the same faces, same students, but then later on I will have new students, colleagues. So tell us about the challenges faced by children, and not only children, even teenagers, when they back to school.
Well, as a mental well-being health coach, I emphasize the ideas of preparing mentally for the new academic year, because if we are well prepared, we will have so much fun, we will be ready for whatever happens, and in the same time we will have good academic results at the end of the year.
Yes. My son is just 2 years old, so he's not in school. But tell us about what can parents do to support their children indeed before coming to school, because you just said that preparing them mentally. Tell us about the techniques that you used before going back to school.
Well, actually what I most recommend is having the open dialogue and communication between the parents and their kids. Whenever we have this open and positive relationship regarding our kids, it's so much good for us and for them and for the academic year as well.
Now let's talk about the teachers. So for the parents, maybe easier job to adjust the students to go back to school. Maybe they say, now my dear, go to back to school and achieve this, we will buy you this. But tell us about the teachers, because the teacher, when they have a new student, especially the first week of school, I think it will be challenging, because I was a teacher for a short period of time. I remember that it's really difficult, because a lot of crying, a lot of maybe students, they are scared. So what can teachers do for the children and for the students to adjust?
Well, the first thing which I recommend is being non-judgmental, like having this approach with children works well, because when you are non-judgmental, you are open to them. You are dealing with them like a child. You cannot be as an adult while you are treating children. You need to be fun, you need to have some special talks with them, so they feel okay with you, especially meeting new faces and new places. It's really feeling them not comfortable.
Of course, they will be scared, because I remember when I was in middle school. Middle school is when you start from phase of children to go to teenage years. It's challenging at itself. So when you go back to school, you need some help from the student, from the parents, and of course from the teachers. Now, how important is it to set academic goals before starting of the year? This is apply, of course, for high school students.
Well, it's very important because we need clarity. When we have clarity, everything will be clear for parents, for school, for children. I mean, they will have little goals, small goals, short-term goals. Then when we achieve these goals, we can celebrate it. So part of the job is on the parents as well, because we need to celebrate little achievements as well.
Of course, and that's why we need someone like you to tell us about this, to tell our children, because setting goals is really remarkable, because if you set a goal, you will succeed. If you set no goals, you will not succeed or fail, because this combination of setting goals is really interesting for even adults. For me, I set goals all the time. Not necessarily achieve them, but at least I have goals. So now let's talk about the routine. Now, as you know, routine is very important, because if you do something every day, you will adjust. Even for your physique, you will wake up in the morning. Nowadays, children, they sleep maybe until 11, 12 in the afternoon. So do you recommend a certain routine before going back to school?
Well, after this long summer period, I recommend focusing on rescheduling our day. So we start gradually by fixing our timings, by reducing screen times as well. You know, now kids are attached to screens and iPads and technology. So we need to do that gradually, not out of the sudden. And it will work, because children are excited and they are willing to go to school. It just needs a little bit of excitement, I think.
Of course, excitement and of course motivation. Motivation is really important, especially for kids, not necessarily for adults, because we understand that motivation will wade away, it will go. So for the children and for their motivation, do you have tips to tell for the parents? And of course for the children, for the students, I mean.
Well, we need to encourage our children to enjoy their times, even if they are a part of us, especially young children, because in the early childhood period of time, children feels really lonely and alone, a part of their parents, especially their moms. That's why we did those amazing workshops and courses for children, because they need this mental support to feel comfortable and to feel confidence.
Yes.
You know, confidence plays a major role in this age, because if they are confident enough to go and face the new world alone, they can do everything.
I remember when I was a student, my mom was telling me that I was quiet and I didn't cry from the first year until, you know, I went to high school, because I was emotionally stable, let's say. Now, as you know, mental health is very important for the children before going back to school. So everyone is celebrating that, let's go back to school, let's have fun. They see that, but their emotion may be not there. So what can you tell us about how to support them emotionally?
Well, actually, most of us go like preparing stationery and buying the bags, and we get really excited and busy doing that, and the uniform. But we sometimes forget about the mental issues. Mental issues plays the most and the most major part of this preparation, because some of the students might be changing their schools. They might be changing.
They don't have friends and.
And they might be changing like the elementary to the high school. And
transition from
exactly.
one school to, yes.
So if they are well prepared and if they are accepting what's happening around them, at the end we are living with other human beings.
Yes.
So we need to accept others and to also accept ourselves as we are. It's part of the
So if you give us an example now, what advice do you have if some students come to you saying that I am anxious about going back to school? What do you say?
Well, I need to accept my feelings as a student. I feel anxious. It's okay. It's all right. No matters. It's normal to feel anxious. I just need to deep breathe, and I need to practice some mindfulness practices just to be okay.
So they will need long time before they readjust, because I understand that when you go back to school, it's always exciting, but also it has some anxiety in it. So this is not easy. But when you have these children, for how long before they adjust?
Well, for little children, it depends on the child.
Quickly, like 1 day or 2 days?
It might be 1 day, it might be 3 months.
Yes.
It depends, actually. There is no certain period of time. But if the teacher plays the good role and be responsible for that, and with communication and with collaboration with home, school, and kids, we can reach our goals and have the very successful and most happy.
Yes, of
year.
course, everyone, if they have, for parents, this is the last question I want you to direct this answer to the parents. If you have advice for them, and tell them what can you do before your children going back to school.
Okay, I will always encourage parents to have the open relationship and dialogue with them. Whenever the child feels okay to share with their parents whatever they have been through in school or outside their homes, it will be much better on both kids and parents, because we as parents, we sit at home or in our works, we don't know what's happening with our kids. So whenever our kids feel safe and okay to tell us what's happening in their lives, it will be much better.
It will be much better, and indeed they will have the good time and excitement they need in school.
Exactly.
Amal, thank you so much for coming to Good Morning Show.
Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. That was Amal Kandakchi, and she tell us just about the mental health. She's a mental health counselor, and she told us the exciting and very important tips for your children. Of course, now we'll go on with our report. We will have a Taekwondo is a popular martial art that originated in Korea, known for its emphasis on high kicks, fast movements, and powerful techniques. More details in the following report.